some of you might be already trying this. So there are artificial intelligence tools which enable us to cut down drastically on some of these aspects. One of them that we are trying to do is something called a profile fitment tool. Basically what it does, it's a plugin with your ATS, and it goes through all your historical offers and joiners profile. And the moment you key in or put in the digital format of a profile into this tool, it gives you a probability score of the person getting through or not. So, it's helpful in a very high volume hiring where you put in 100 profiles and you get a 20 most probable selects. And, while I don't have the results yet, but it's one of the interesting things that we are trying to do. It cuts down almost 60 to 70% of our sourcing timelines. Second is the other large aspect of time that we spend is in contacting candidates, calling them. A lot of time they're not reachable, good guys don't pick up, there are specific times when they want us to contact them, etc. It's a very simple but a tool that has come up, which is an automated candidate contacting system, which is around, it is very basic. You key in the name and number, you record your voice, and in a matter of 5 minutes, it can call up to 500 people, and you get a dashboard of how many of them are interested in your profile. And it's a basically press 0 if you're interested, press 1 not. This is if they press 1, if they are interested, to give a brief job. And it's not an automated voice, it's a recorded voice of a human being, a recruiter. There is a very good way of, the way you communicate with them. Is something that we are trying, and it has proven initial stages that it cuts down almost 80% of a recruiter's time calling, and that's, I'm sure, one of the most boring tasks most of the recruiters feel, that you keep calling. So these are the two aspects that we are trying in the sourcing field. Yesterday I met up with a partner who's trying to consolidate the social media. So what they have come up with is a consolidation of 90 odd social media platforms and give you one single platform or view of a profile, and very useful in niche technology related hiring that we are trying to do. On engagement, lastly, I won't take much time. On engagement, we do almost 40% of our recruitment from tier 1, tier 2 tech and B schools. So we have an internal communication, system that we use. In some organization it's same time, in some others. So we use something called Slack, where you can create channels and groups. So what we did is we created a Slack group for campus new hires, joiners, and it is not about only communicating on what they are expected to do, the entire movement for internship, entire stay, and it's like a WhatsApp group for them. We realized that we experimented with it this year, and we got rave reviews from the interns. So these are some of the items that we are trying to use, and I'm happy that we are taking away some of the analytics input that Shankar you shared. I'm sure this is going to help us a lot. Thank you.
Is it still in the beta phase or is it live?
So the engagement part is live. The other two on the sourcing bit is in the beta phase.
Let's catch up after this.
Sure.
I'm from a startup. We produce HR technology, and it's good to use the occasion and try to understand how your decision-making process works, right? So when you are looking at a technology, there is HR involved typically, there is talent acquisition involved, there is always a dimension of, be it in DBS, probably maybe also in Fidelity. Can you decide this something for India when you're buying in India? Or is it that your global office has to decide, right? So how does it work? How does the mechanics work for you guys as you see it working in your organizations? And what can be done to make it faster, better for a provider of technology? So
I can maybe just take the first answer on this one. So for us, I think when we work in large organizations, there is a fair amount of matrix between and most of us work in offshore entities. So there is a fair amount of matrix, hurdles to jump between the onshore and offshore, typically, as you would call it. But I think the way that we've been able to segregate this is between things that we can do to um, uh, things which affect an employee at an enterprise level versus things that I can make better at a local level. So we've been able to. I'm not sure that that's very scientific in the way that we divide it, but we do manage to kind of figure out something that we are trying to do unique and something that we are trying to do at an enterprise level. And then if it's something which is unique, which is local to India and to our office here, then we are absolutely we have the green light to go ahead and engage and kind of bring new thoughts onto the table. Just to give you an example, the SmartUp that we spoke about, SmartUp is not an Indian organization, but we have tied it up exclusively for India and for our office here in Hyderabad. So, and we went there primarily because of the solution that they provided us. We did look at a few other solutions here in India as well, but we really loved the interface. It was very simple. For lack of better words, it's slightly dumbed down, so you don't need to go through a fairly articulate website-like kind of interface. So I think that's what kind of worked for us, and that helps us kind of take our agenda forward in that sense. Does that kind of answer your question to a certain extent?
So our IS to a new platform which integrates across disciplines, because currently we have different software we are on Oracle for something, we are on Talio for something else, and so on. We are trying to move on towards software which will integrate the various disciplines, and believe me, that decision itself took probably like 6 months or longer to make the switch, and this transition process is going to take another 18 months or so. So for us, I would say the purchasing decision is largely centralized, especially when it comes to enterprise level applications. But there are certain local applications which the local management team takes a call on. Again, it is subject to cost and various other data restrictions and so on. We are also doing something very similar to the SmartUp. We are tying up with Tidy. So it's an app which also does this prospective candidate engagement. So that's a local decision, that's not a global rollout. So likewise, we have been doing some things locally, but largely it becomes easier if it is centrally sourced or if it is in-house developed.
So we could converse and take a look at what it is. Yeah.
Priya has kind of given me the death knell, so thank you so much. Thanks again to everyone for coming down for this wonderful session. And I really thank my panelists for being here and sharing your thoughts.